and you can spray in there the threads, because these things may have not been out for a long time. So you can at least spray the back of the threads and let it soak for a little bit before you try to break the screws loose on the striker plate. That was a lot to say. Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being part of it. And especially thank you for the donations that have came in. It's helping to keep this channel alive and keep it affordable. If you'd like to, drop down in the description. There's a safe, secure link to PayPal to send a donation. It is appreciated. We have t-shirts and stickers that all help out, and you can find them on the website. Today, we're going to go ahead and show you how to properly align your doors and different methods and what you need depending on what's going on with your door. I believe David, one of the club members, asked in the Facebook group about aligning the doors, and I said I'll do a video. I think it was about a week and a half ago. So I got on it as quick as I could. And stay tuned. I'm going to start doing all the updates and club news at the end of videos. So I hope that makes sense, so I don't keep you tied up in the beginning. So let's get on it. Now, of course, I'm not saying that these older cars were built on a computer platform and everything, however they do it now with these cars, where everything's perfect. A lot of these cars were just assembled in an assembly line. So when you see a certain gap, and I'll bring you up close in a second, it's a little uneven. Remember, you're dealing with vintage cars, and that doesn't matter if it's Beetles, Chevelle, Barracuda, Falcons. When you see one that's perfect, where all the seams are lined up on them older cars and these, then you pretty much know somebody did that, because at the factory, they used shims, you know, in the fenders and that, and they got them close. They weren't messing around trying to make things perfect like that. So today, we want things to line up and look perfect, which there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to go over the reasons why. I'm going to show you how to remedy them, you know, to make things line up better on your doors. And hopefully it'll help a few of you out. So come here, I'll show you something first that's important. There's something I'll go over in a minute of why the door handle's not on there. And it's a good idea for some of you just doing restoration work. So what we have here is your A and B pillars, okay? Now, a lot of times when you buy a Beetle, if you go to pick the Beetle out and you're looking at it and trying to see what's wrong with it, and you're looking at the car and you open the door and the door drops. Now, mine don't, but it drops. And you're looking at this car to purchase it, okay? And the owner is saying, there's probably just a screw loose, maybe with the owner, but not all the times is a screw loose, okay? So I'll show you what to look at first, especially if you're buying one and the door drops when you open it, okay? Come here a second. Something you want to check here is the pillar, okay? This one is welded here. Somebody was changing a body panel on it. However, a lot of these rot out here, okay? So you want to check thoroughly before you'd purchase it, or if you already purchased one and your doors drop them when you open it, check the bottom of the pillar here. They're notorious for rotting out. You can fix it. It can be replaced, okay? But you have to have a little knowledge of welding, you know, things of that nature. But check here and see if this is rotted out, because if it is, you got a little bit of work ahead of you, but it can be fixed. Also, check this pillar. You have A and B pillar, and see, you can tell he replaced that outer panel, that it was actually welded, which is fine. He didn't do a very good job there, but I'll fix it. Point being, if these are rotted out in these areas, you're going to have a problem. Now, something else that you have to watch for is if the heater channels are having an issue, okay? If they're rotted or what have you, you're going to have your door drop down also. So first of all, before you start aligning and doing and turning screws, okay, or manipulating stuff, make sure this area is okay, because if it is not, you're not going to fix the issue with how I'm going to show you, if that makes any sense, okay? So go over it, make sure the heater channels are okay, make sure the A and B pillars are solid, that they're not falling or anything, okay? Let's move forward now. Okay, now, here's a little tip also. If you're in the middle of working on your car, doing restoration work or whatever, leave the door handle off while you are going ahead and doing the alignment. If you already have your car all together and are driving it, don't go pulling parts off of it. That's not where I'm going with this. All I'm saying is take advantage of, if you have the door handle off, leave it off while you're doing the alignment procedure. Now, my door handle is off, and so are pretty much the jaws of life there. So when you have those off, okay, mine's gutted because I'm going to be redoing everything inside of it completely. And have your striker plate off, okay? If in fact you're doing a restoration, it's best to line the doors up before you put everything on them, okay? So that's the first thing. But now I'm going to show you the last of the adjustments, which is more simplified, and show you a tool that will help out. And I'm going to also show you that something that nobody is showing for some reason before you start loosening screws, how to access things and make it easier. We like things easier, right? I hear you. Okay, come here a second, watch this. So we're going to go ahead and open the trunk. If your trunk opens that way, you're in serious trouble. Okay. Now there's a reason I removed the trunk. You know, in your case, you'll be just lifting your trunk. All right. We have screws. Sometimes there will be a little white plastic cap to pop off. So you have 3 up top and 3 down the bottom. So make sure you remove all of them screws out, maybe 2 turns or something like that. But before you do that, let's make it a little easier. So there is a hinge, and there is a hinge. On the other side of the hinge, them screws go through the door pillar, okay? So you're going to take some PB Blast or whatever your favorite liquid lubrication is. See the screws? Okay. Now it's going to be hard for me to get the camera in her to show you. You're going to take the nozzle though, make sure on your PB Blast or whatever you like to use, spray it down in that jam down inside of there, okay? Make sure you hit the tips of the screws. Now this hose, do not pull this hose off. Please don't do that. That goes down onto the heater channel, all right? You don't want to do that. You're going to have a heck of a time if you tear it, okay? So don't pull that hose off. If you lubricate all 6 of those screws, and you can do it, I know it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get down to the bottom one, but if you have your nozzle on and you're spraying down inside of there, use a little mirror. If you can please get lubrication on the back of them threads, you're going to save yourself a headache, okay? So make sure to do that first. Now, to the next step. Now, this is something that you're going to have to probably have on hand regardless if you own a Beetle. This is a Phillips screwdriver, okay? But you can see the size of it. That's a number 4. So it's pretty big. I don't have nothing to compare it to right now, but that's a big screwdriver. A number 4. Just punch in online, number 4 Phillips screwdriver. This is for taking the screws out of the door pillar or the striker plate, okay? This is something I had since I was young, but they still sell them. They're impact drivers, okay? And of course they have different fittings in them, as you can see. And guess what? The one's a number 4 Phillips. Okay, that is for removing the screws. Now you've already lubricated them, okay? And you're going to use that impact driver, and I'll show you a quick snippet right here. Bam. These been on here since 1968. That's why it makes a difference. Now look at that. Also, you want to spray. There we go. Ooh. You want to spray some PB Blast around the outsides of them too. And that's what it's like to use one. They are a big help for breaking them loose. Okay, so let's move to this side. So let's play make-believe. Okay, say the bottom of the door is sticking out here. Okay, but the top of it is flush, okay? That's where these screws are going to come in handy for this part of alignment. You have your 6 screws, 3 up top, 3 down the bottom, okay? So once you have broken them loose, just turn them about 1 turn, you know, just 1 revolution to loosen them up. You will get some up and down movement out of it if you're not lined properly, but not very much, only a minute amount. These screws are meant to move in and out. So if your door has to go like this, where the bottom's out a little further, the top's not as much, you can shift the door this way, okay, with these screws. The hinges, make sure if your door is off to check, because mine had a crack on the body and it was able to be welded and repaired. My friend Chuck did it for me. That scared me. That metal was thin in there. I didn't want to end up screwing it up. So make sure that those are solid, because you can have some issues with the doors not lining up. But doing the hinges here will move the door like this. I hope that makes sense to you, okay? Now next we have the striker plate. So these screws can be loosened up, and this striker plate will move all around, okay? But before you try to loosen it, I'm going to show you another little trick. Before you try and loosen up the striker plate, remove your rear door panel, okay? Because the screws are going through the pillar. So take off your rear panel. They're not hard to remove, okay? And you can do this. So there is your striker plate. And if you notice, the screws go around and behind the door panel. I call it a door panel. Now I can't show you on film because the camera will not fit inside of there. But when you go through there, the screws are going to be right there, the backs of them. So what you want to do now, take PB Blast without destroying your headliner or anything. Don't act like an idiot and start squirting it all over the place. Remember, your interior's in. I can feel the threads to the screws when I put my hand in there. I just can't get the camera in there. Although there's a bore scope coming. I'll talk about that in a minute. And you can spray in there the threads, because these things may have not been out for a long time. So you can at least spray the back of the threads and let it soak for a little bit before you try to break the screws loose on the striker plate. That was a lot to say. Now, when you go ahead and you've adjusted, I'm holding this with my knee, there's no latch, your screws up here, it's going to take this movement back and forth, the top in or out, or the bottom in or out, okay? Once you get them where you need to be, snug them up. The striker plate would be second, okay, for your up and down movement, and you're going to watch your body line there, okay? Now, like I said, some people adjust, use some shims at the back to pick it up slightly if this body line is lower. But be careful. Don't go buckling your roof or act like a numbskull trying to do this, okay? But the striker plate sometimes, as long as they're in good shape, will pick up the door to close it. One last thing, and we're almost done here. Let's walk around to this side, although I didn't have the door shut. Your door, when you close it, should sound like a vault, like very solid sounding, okay? But you shouldn't have to like slam it like a nut job, you know what I mean? It should close fairly easy. We'll try it again. Okay, just gently. See that? I'm not, the microphone is on an HD platform, so it's making it sound like I'm shutting it harder than it is. But see, that's how it should line up. Right like that, okay? Now, if it's not perfect, don't start getting all OCD and acting like a nut trying to figure it out. Do the best that you can. That's how I like mine. I like them to line up nice and neat. Like I said, you shouldn't have to slam your door. If you open it and it drops, do everything I told you to do from first to the end. Also, if you do need to line it, the striker plate will bring it up and down. The screws inside will move it in and out like that. I hope that makes sense. The door will go like this, okay? But you should be able to just like that. See how even when you go like that, no, I can't make it do it. If you didn't do it the whole way, it should easily go like that. That is how you want it. Isn't that nice? Okay.
Now, something else I just wanted to bring up is you want to check the gaps and make them even as possible during your adjustments. So as you can see, my door's not closed all the way. I'll go to the other side. You want your gaps to be nice and even. This should be picked up a hair, but I have to watch because look at that. That's spot on. But you want to check your gaps going down and also around and down. I don't know how else to word it, sorry. But you want your gaps to be nice and even. Now, you're not putting your car in a show at the Grand Concourse to be scored, but you want it to be as even as possible, and that's what you're looking for mostly right there.
All right, so that was your door alignment, door adjustment, door tweaking, not twerking, tweaking video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any problems, leave them in the comments below. I do the best I can. I've slowed down to once a week on catching up all the comments. So I apologize for that. I'm doing the best I can on keeping up on everything. So if you have any questions, let me know. We got to get back on the body work. I stepped aside because I wanted to rip that motor down and get it all cleaned up. Doing an ultrasonic cleaning on the engine case. I'll probably do that tomorrow, so I'll put it up in a few days. I'm just putting more videos up now. So let's see how the ultrasonic cleaner does with an engine case. I'm really curious to see because I got a pretty big one. I hope everybody had a great day, and more than likely I'll see you Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the, that's right, Club Chat. Have a good day, everybody.